Hello! Today we're going to talk about mind. What is mind? How does it work? And why do we need to know about it? So, if you are practicing yoga, it is important to understand what is mind, because mind it is instrument that allows you to see this world, see this life, to experience this life through five senses. Mind has some particular properties. How does it work? And when you know how your mind works, you can understand the limits that mind creates for you. And if you're practicing yoga, so you need to understand that there are different levels of consciousness, and in some particular level of consciousness, when you are using mind to experience this life, so this mind, it gives you some particular borders. So please understand that our reality, it is the way more wider than our mind can understand. It means when we're saying that I understand this world by my mind, it means that I understand this world limited, because my mind is limited. So now we're going to talk about how we can describe what is mind and how does it work. So mind, it is collection of conscious and unconscious ongoing processes, thoughts and experiences. Main task of mind is to process and systematize experience that he gets through five senses, through taste, smell, touch, sight and hearing. Usually we understand mind as intellect that, can remember and systematize based on our experience. Mind can analyze in basic level, and mind it is quite basic level of understanding this life, because mind it is limited. Mind is some kind of instrument that in some period of evolution it is very helpful, and after some time it can be not that helpful. So from one side, mind it can be very good friend of us, and from another side it can be even like a enemy for us. So in most East countries, people consider mind as enemy, and they try to control mind, they try to calm mind, they try to somehow, master their mind, sometimes remove their mind, because in Eastern countries, for example, in yoga practice, mind creates some kind of barrier that does not allow you to experience higher levels of this reality. So because of that, in Eastern countries, they're like trying to fully to become masters of mind. That not mind take over you, but you fully control your mind, and you can go beyond level of your mind. Mind has four basic instincts. They are reproduce sexually, eat, sleep and be safe. It means that our mind, he always tries to fulfill those desires, because it's level that limits him. Mind is also limited and dual. What is dual? Duality, it is, some particular understanding of life. When you understand that life is good or bad, you like it or dislike it, pain or pleasure, it is like tasty or not tasty, and happy and not happy, and it limits our experience in this reality. So when you go away from duality, you go beyond this level and beyond this understanding. Then you understand that day and the night, that both of them, that you need both of them actually. So like after that, all those understandings like good or bad, in higher level of consciousness, higher level of understanding, it just, you just remove it. It's very interesting moment. Mind always egoistic, selfish, and always seeks to get something valuable, and mind always seeks to get pleasure for person. It means that mind, he always thinks about himself, always thinks about how to get value, how to get something for you, not for others. So one of the qualities of mind, it is egoistic and it is selfish, because always thinks about himself. And mind always tries to get only what he likes, and he always tries to avoid what he does not like. For example, you like some particular taste, and because of taste, you always try to repeat this process. So your mind, when he has something he likes, he always tries to repeat this attachment. So from yogic point of view, so attachment creates stronger samskara in your subconscious mind, and this stronger samskara, it keeps you in this in particular level of understanding, in particular level of consciousness. So yogis, they are trying to go away from attachments, especially from attachments from five senses. There are interesting moments that there is understanding that there is mind and there is higher mind. So usually we call higher mind like intellect, and our intellect, it can separate what is good, what is bad. Also intellect has higher moral level, it has wisdom, higher goals, how to do something good for others. So there are mind based on instinct levels, and there are higher mind, we can call it intellect. And this intellect is like a higher level of our understanding life. It's higher level of how we understand this life. Sage Patanjali in Patanjali Yoga Sutras says, when activity of mind stops, yogi knows himself who he really is. Then seer establishes himself in his personal nature. It is very important part from Patanjali Yoga Sutras, because it gives us understanding that we can go to the higher level of consciousness when our mind stops. And for example, in order to know yourself, we need to learn how to fully stop our mind. And meditation, it can help us to do that. It is very interesting moment, because usually, when we live life, when we understand usually everything only through level of our mind, then it sounds a little bit strange. But please understand that mind, it is some kind of instrument that are inside of us, and this instrument allows you to experience this life only through 5 senses. But actually, your ability to perceive, to experience this reality is much wider. There are much more wider experiences that you can experience in this life than your five senses, than your mind level. For example, when people train mind, they can be very smart. They can, calculate with their mind very effectively, very quickly, and so on. So mind, it's like, like an instrument that you can train. It's like there are different methods how you can train your mind. But mind, it is limited way of understanding this life. Interesting moment that we need to ask ourselves question: do we use our mind, or our mind uses us? It means in our life, usually we do some kind of actions based on different previous experiences, different previous patterns that comes from our mind. And those previous experiences, patterns, they are not always, something that was valuable for you like 30, 40, 50 years back. So now can be maybe you need a little bit different things that can help you in today's life. So mind, it is like an instrument that have some particular limits that he is trying always to push on you. And mind, always tries to use you as possible. And for example, in yoga, it is in some particular point of practice, in some particular point of evolution. Why do we need teacher in yoga? Why do we need master that can help us to work with us? Because in some particular time, it becomes hard to control your mind, and to go over limits of your mind, it is important that you have teacher who can give you experience that will be able to, to break such limits that we create with our mind, ourselves, with our previous experience. So in yoga, in some point of practice, we need to find teacher, guru, yoga master that can help us to control our mind and go beyond level of this mind. Because as I said, in some particular time, mind can be very good friend. But in some particular way, when you try to control your mind by yourself, you can see very interesting moment that mind does not like when you try to control it. And because of that, it creates such a lot of barriers for you in your practice. So gurus, masters of yoga, teachers of yoga, they give you experience, they give you tasks that give you opportunity to control your mind, that give opportunity for you to go beyond the level of your mind. So in yoga practice, it is important. So it happens because to experience life broader, as Patanjali said in sutras. When activity of mind stops, yogi knows himself who he really is. So if you ask yourself a question, who am I? Patanjali says very clearly, when activity of mind stops, yogi knows himself who he really is. Then seer establishes himself in his personal nature. Also, thoughts and thinking process, it uses your time, your energy, and your resources. For example, when you think about some thought, or you remember something, or you attached to something, and you always into thinking process, then thinking process, it uses your life energy, it uses your time. So interesting moment when you can control your mind, you can direct it to whatever you need. For example, when you do not control your mind, so mind always want that, go there, watch there, read that, see that, I want to see what's here, I want to see what's here, I want to see that's here, and so on. Mind is always searching for some objects to attach to them. By doing that, mind is using your time and your energy. Today you want to see that, tomorrow you want to see that, day after tomorrow you want to do that, after 1 month I want to do that, and mind, you know, always runs, always searches, always goes, and you know, it's like it never stops. And by doing that, it uses your time, your energy, and your resources. Also, it is interesting moment that there are higher levels, and one of those higher levels are intuition. Did you hear about sixth sense? You know, there are 5 senses, but there are sixth sense. It's intuition. Intuition, it is, you know, like inner feeling, inner, you know, higher feeling, when you know some particular things, but you don't know how you don't know it. It comes just from inside, it comes from you. And it usually happens in our life when we live this life, and when our experiences, they become based not on I think, not on I think I should do that, but on our intuition. You just do something and you know from intuition that it is the right way to do that. So intuition, it is already beyond level of mind, and when you live on intuition level, it is much more wider experience of life. It is much more wider experience of this whole reality. Please remember that if you live on mind level, so you limit yourself by 5 senses. And if you are practicing yoga, so please remember those Patanjali words, because to understand who you really are, it is important to see this reality wider, to go beyond limited levels of ourselves. And mind, it creates borders, it creates level. So in this, meditation can help us to go beyond level of mind. Meditation also expands our consciousness, and because of that, you are able to perceive and experience higher level of reality, like, you know, like different level of reality. So that's all about mind. It is, you know, very interesting topic, maybe it is not that easy topic to understand, but if to say in a few simple words, so mind, it is instrument that allows us to experience this reality through 5 senses. Our 5 senses, it is limited because there are, for example, in the night people cannot see very good, but animals, they see much better than human, right? For example, there are animals who can hear much better than human, right? Right, there are animals. For example, there are animals that have smell much better than ours, right? For example, dog. Yes, it is. So it shows for us that our 5 senses, it is limited. And if we limit ourselves to live only through 5 senses, then we limit experience that we get in this life. So meditation, it is practice that can help us to go beyond. Thank you for watching. Hope it will be valuable for you, and see you next time. Goodbye.